it's time for an update on my diet, and I'm going to discuss something that has happened to me over the last 30 days, and it's sort of the reverse of what's supposed to happen, but I'll explain what is supposed to happen and why it reversed for me for a little bit there. And it has to do with your body hydration. And more to the point, it has to do with changes in your body hydration between winter and summer. And as it turns out, during the summer, your body's got to carry around more water with it. It's sort of a survival thing, just in case you have to go a longer period of time without water. You need to have more water around with you, sort of in your body, in your blood. And you actually do this externally, outside your body too. You know, during the summer, your chances are good you're carrying around a water bottle, or you've got a great big double big gulp or whatever, something like this. And these are things you usually don't have with you during the winter. And during the winter, the best survival adaptation is to release more of that body water so that you're not using energy carrying it around. So during the spring and during autumn, you have this change where temperatures just keep getting warmer and warmer during the spring, and the hydration in your body just keeps going up and up and up, which means you get heavier. And it'll seem like you're not losing the weight that you're supposed to lose. And your body fat percent will just keep going down because water is lean weight, right? It's not fat. So in that sense, you think, wow, my diet's doing good, but my weight is going up. So it's a little bit strange. And the opposite happens in the fall. And I'm going to show you with my own data a couple of graphs just to kind of show you how this works so that you can think about it and maybe not get tricked by it when you're trying to lose weight. Can you hear that? Listen. That is, I just made a couple batches of beer a day and a half ago, and they are going pretty good. One of them's in a Cooper's fermenter, so it's not blurping, but the other one, single malt and single hop, Maris Otter Fuggles. It's making a little bit of noise. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But just my day so far to notice that right now. In fact, I'll tell you about something else that happened in my day so far this morning. Well, morning to me, that's actually afternoon, but I get up and I open YouTube and I notice that there's a video up there, a fairly new one of he calls himself the Drunken One. If you're watching my video, chances are you've already seen some of his. And while I'm watching his new video, I can't, I have this is my laptop right here. I have it sitting on my lap, and as I look and see it just shut off on me. Okay, as I look and I see this corner, out of the corner of my eye, some motion, and there's a spider. And it just kind of runs down at about this speed, runs down my shirt, over my keyboard, up the side of my laptop screen, down the back of the laptop screen. And by this time, I'm reaching for my phone, trying to find my phone so I can record the thing. Just the impudence of this spider. Now think about this. Your weight ought to carry some respect. I looked up a spider's mass. It's 3 milligrams roughly, maybe 10 milligrams, something in there, right? And if it's, not a tarantula or something, just a normal spider, here, it's a grass spider. I'll tell you, here's a picture of a grass spider. A lot of people where I live in Utah, they think these are hobo spiders. They're not hobo spiders. The odds of you seeing a hobo spider in Utah are very, very slim in your entire lifetime if you're living in a city. But you will see these things almost every day. It is a harmless grass spider. So anyway, it's one of these things, and it runs down, and I get my camera, and I finally find this thing as it's running around my foot. This is like no respect whatsoever. So that's how my day's going so far. Let's get back to my computer's behaving just a wee bit strangely here. Okay. And all right, good. I can now Control G. If you got Windows 10 and you're in Chrome, you hit Control G. Windows 10 will treat Chrome as if it's a game that you're playing, like on an Xbox. And it has this built-in screen recorder thing, so that if you're playing a game, you can record your game and upload it, right? So, and it, you know, it treats Chrome as if it's a video game. So here it is. This is my screen, and it is not what I want to be looking at. This is my brew schedule. What do I want to look at? Oh, here we go. Scientific American. To what degree is a person's body weight affected by the ambient temperature and humidity? Do we conserve or release water as the climate changes? So you can look that up online to kind of get a grip on what I'm talking about. Let's go to my diet page. And as you can see here, this little graph, see if maybe I can F11 this and keep there we go. Get this graph back. These are, well, I guess first I need to explain my body fat scale a little bit. And that's F11. You son of a bitch. Guess what? The thing, just because I F11'd, Windows 10 shut down that screen recorder. That screen recorder, it's like they are viciously trying to make sure that it only records the game and not your screen. So it's really annoying, but here it goes. Got it restarted, and we're back to my least squares trend lines. Now, you can see in these columns over here, there's the athlete column and the normal column, and then there's a reconciled column. Now, the athlete column, when I get on my body fat scale, I have to choose, am I an athlete or am I a sedentary person, right? Am I athletic or am I sedentary? If you're a sedentary person, then you choose one setting, and it gives you what I've called normal here. And it tells you your estimate of your, it checks your impedance, and then it tells you what your estimate of your body fat is. And if you say you're athletic, then I think what it does, you have the same impedance, right? When you get on this and you weigh yourself, and it sends the signal through your body. But I think all it does is subtract 8% from what it would have told you for your impedance if you had it on the normal setting. So it's just about 8% difference in all these cases. There's a little bit of variation due to the fact that your impedance isn't going to be, I had to do this twice, once on athlete and once on sedentary or normal, and there's going to be a little variation in impedance. But so, like right here, where I'm going back and forth, this is an 8.1% difference, and I think they just subtract 8%. Anyway, having said all that, just look at these trend lines. I'll get out of the way here. At the top, in the red, that is my sedentary data. And you notice the trend line, it just keeps going down, 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 right? And of course that means that at the bottom where the athlete data is, it's got the same trend line, down, 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 because they're just different by about 8%. And in the middle, we can kind of ignore this, but this is me deciding where I should be on the athlete to sedentary person scale, and it's based on how much I've been exercising, how much I have exercised in the last 6 months, and it just keeps getting closer to the athlete setting because I keep exercising more and more and more and bringing myself down there. But that one in the middle just isn't important. But you'll notice that there's a downward trend line. And the downward trend line is about 1%. If you look at the bottom one, the trend line, it's up at about the 17 mark, and then it slopes down over 30 days to about the 16 mark, right? That's a little deceptive. I'm going to change this graph just a little bit. I'm going to make it stop after about 10 days of data so you can see what it looks like. So we'll change this to 80. And you can see there's a slight slope down, right, as you get into May 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And now I'm going to change it again to show the next 10 days. So I'm going to change this to 80 through 90. Look, the trend lines are now going up. And this was driving me batty. I knew what was happening because I've been aware of this for a long time, but it just wouldn't get over with. And what was happening is here in Utah, for the first half of May, it started getting really freaking cold. Now, I went back and looked through historical weather data and found out that April, the average temperature in April in Fahrenheit was 64 degrees. That's about 18 Celsius. And I checked on the 15th of May, and the average temperature in May so far was only 60 degrees. So these days should have been much warmer than April, especially when the average of April included all the days at the beginning of April. When, you know, this is spring. It's supposed to be warming up, and instead it got really cold, so it mimicked fall. Now, so what was happening is in the fall, or when the temperatures are going down, you start to shed water weight. And water weight is lean weight, which meant that my body fat percentage was going up, even though I'm on a calorie-restricted diet, and I was losing body fat. I could not lose body fat fast enough to overcome the effect from the weight loss due to water. And that was really a pain in the pituitary. And let's just take a look at the next few days in there and show you what's happened. Because, you know, right around the 15th, 16th, when I started really looking at this, I mean, it snowed. It was crazy. Let's change this to 90. And we'll change this to 99, which I think is the end of my data. And now you can see my body fat percentage going way, way down on both of them, the trend line. And that's because it has really been warming up again. Plus, I've been losing body fat, continuing to lose body fat. So my point is if you're going from winter into summer, and you're probably not monitoring body fat percentage. You're probably monitoring, what would you be monitoring? You'd just be monitoring your weight. And maybe you're finding it difficult to lose weight. Well, the reason why is because your body is storing more water in your blood because it's summer. And on the other hand, if it's in the fall, you're going to shed that water, and you might think, wow, I'm losing weight easily, right? And, you know, it's not, neither one of these things are the kind of weight that you want to be concerned with. It's not body fat, it's just water. It's kind of like when you, let's say you go on a diet for, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that, and you get on a scale at the beginning of it, and you get on a scale at the end, and suddenly you've lost a lot of weight because you've changed your diet so you're eating quite a bit less. I've been over this before. You end up carrying less food around in your digestive tract. And that's the weight you've lost. And you've probably lost very little. And in fact, you might even continue to gain weight, but just at a slower rate in terms of gaining fat on your body. The fact that you lost weight due to eating less doesn't mean that you've put yourself in a deficit calorie situation. And that initial weight loss from when you kind of empty out your bowels and start carrying less around, boy, it counts for absolutely nothing. And so that's why it's important to use a data collection technique like I'm using. This is my actual weights in blue at the bottom. Sorry, had to do an edit there. Now this is my actual data. This is my my weight loss, and you know, all the bouncing around that it does, and you know, some places you look horizontally, you can look way back and see that I was at the same weight, you know, a week or two ago, or close to. But if you interpret it correctly, if you know what you're doing, you can actually see the general trend of what's happening, and that's what's important. And let's see, anything else? Okay, this right here, blood pressure. How's that? This is a lot to do with why I went on the diet to begin with, was just to lower my blood pressure. And actually, it's sort of stabilized, and now it actually seems to be trending up. That's the systolic at the top, and in the middle is the diastolic. But it's right around where you would expect a normal person's to be, 120/80, and my pulse, of course, because I'm doing physical fitness stuff, is way below 60. That's my morning pulse rate. I think that is pretty much all I have got to talk about, except that looking up at the top, this column L up here, you can see that my end date for my diet is now the 16th of June. I think when I started, it was around the 12th of July is when I was going to end, and that's because my new end weight is 173.57 as of today when it was recalculated. And that's because of this seasonal change going from winter into summer. It was very cold temperatures back on February 17th when I started this diet. And if you look way over here in this column U, that's my beginning lean muscle mass versus my current lean muscle mass. Well, not necessarily muscle mass, but it's also the water mass. And it's, it's showing that I've gained about 6 pounds of lean weight. Well, a lot of that is water, but, I don't need to lose that. That's not the fat that I need to lose. So instead of having an original goal weight, you can see in this column O, and if I scroll up to the top, let me scroll way up to the top to at least, there we go, to 13. That was my original 167.82. That was my original goal weight, but I've added a lot of water weight, probably some lean muscle tissue as well from all of that exercise I've been doing. This is all the calories I've been burning in exercise over here in this column there. So, I am doing pretty good, right on track. Like I said, if you know what you're doing and you obey the rule that it's calories that matter, it's not protein, it's not what time you eat, it's not anything like alcohol. I made a video about alcohol. Let me show you. This is my alcohol percentage right here, meaning how much I've been eating of alcohol. And right next to that, see the alcohol percentages between the columns calories, that's how many total calories I've consumed, and food calories. Now, why do I distinguish between calories and food calories? It means I've subtracted out all of the alcohol calories, because the alcohol calories don't count. They have to be dealt with in a way that actually consumes calories, because your body treats it as sort of a poison, and your body has to get rid of it like now. So it's sort of like exercise right now, and the exercise is something that's taking place internally and takes care of the alcohol. And it's gone, and that's especially for women. If you remember from the video that I did before about alcohol calories between men and women in general data sets, the women who drink the most, who consume the most alcohol, they're the skinniest. And the women who consume the least alcohol, they're the fattest. And you can go back and watch that video if you'd like. Okay, now before I resume to the ending of the video, I'll just edit in something that's completely irrelevant to the main topic of the video, but it goes back to the Drunken One business. Speaking of Drunken Ones, I've had one of these now. On my second. This one's caribou slobber. Let's see. So Drunken One, at the beginning of his video, you can hear in the background he's listening to some music. And the music he's listening to is CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. What was the song? I don't remember, but I thought to myself, he's listening to CCR, but I'm not going to hold that against him. I'm sure I've sung along to a CCR tune once or twice in my life. If I did, it was probably that Heard It From the Grapevine song. But then on the other hand, I don't remember actually doing something like that, but that's of course because if I had ever sung along to Creedence Clearwater Revival, I would have blocked that out by now, as is the psychologically healthy thing for a person to do with really traumatic memories like that, right? But he suddenly becomes aware that this music is playing, and he doesn't want YouTube to come after him for a copyright violation on the music, right? So he starts trying to turn the music down, and it turns out the music is being played by his phone. And he thinks he's got it all the way turned down because the song ended. So there's just silence, right? And then suddenly music starts playing again. And you can see on his screen that Pandora is one of the apps that he has running on his phone. And that's where the music is coming from. And the music that started playing again was the next song, which happened to be the Eagles. And it's from the out on, well, it's called On the Border. That's the name of the Eagles album that was playing, and you could see the top of it on his Pandora app, right? So I quoted a line from, a whole verse, but the main line, the most important line from the verse that I quoted in his comments was, "Gotta change this water to wine," right? Because, right, he's listening to On the Border, well, at least the album, it wasn't that song, and he was brewing beer. It's a brew video of his. And so, I quoted that. And then I told him my spider story from the beginning of this video. And of course now he thinks I'm insane. Told me to take my meds. So there's a little bit of YouTube interaction there. I'm just sticking this at the end of the video because no one's going to make it to the end of the video, because how many people are even interested in this topic? See ya. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say see ya. I should say back to the regularly scheduled ending. Which brings me to the end, so that's what we'll do. Why don't we, we'll put down in the lower right-hand corner that video on alcohol, and we'll put up in the top the beginning of this weight loss series. Top right, we'll just have some sort of a mystery, and if you'd like to subscribe, it's at the lower right. And see ya.